y'all, welcome back to Smiley Said It. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the movie Baby Boy, which came out in 2001. The movie Baby Boy was directed by the one and only legend, rest in peace, John Singleton, who you guys know for directing the movie Boys in the Hood. Before he passed away, he worked a lot with Ice Cube, and he has created black cinema in a way that storytelling was never told before. I want to give him his flowers because he genuinely shaped the way that I viewed film in general. So, who is in this classic movie that we all love and know about? Tyrese Gibson.
What more do you want from me?
He definitely is one of the most talented R&B artists that a lot of us know, but he is a piece of I can't stand Tyrese. I can't stand him as a person, but he is a talented person. Tyrese is very problematic in real life. I mean, I don't want to go through all of that because this video is not about how problematic Tyrese is in real life. It's about how problematic he is in this movie, and we're going to stick to that for now. Tyrese plays Jody, who is a king baby, a man-child, someone who has yet to grow up and understand the responsibilities that are given to him at hand. We have the legend, Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames is literally an actor I did a review on previously on Holiday Heart. One of my favorite actors. He is so well diversified in his work, and if you look at his body of work, it is so good. He's so good. Ving Rhames plays Melvin, who is the boyfriend of Juanita, aka Jody's mom. Jody's mom, who is played by AJ Johnson, who was also in House Party. Let me tell you something. This woman is a stallion. AJ is such a stallion, and her physique, her body, I don't want to sexualize her, but her body is so admirable. Even now, even today, she is stunning to me. But also, she's very open about her sexuality. Not saying that she's queer or anything, but she's very open-minded and she's very spiritual. I've watched a few interviews of hers. Omar Gooding, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother, who was on the TV show Smart Guy. We all know that show. I think a lot of us do. I hope a lot of us know that show, but I'm also telling my age. Snoop Dogg plays Rodney, who is the ex or a guy that Yvette is familiar with. So Yvette, who is played by Taraji P. Henson, Yvette and Jody shares a child together, and she is the main focus of this movie outside of him. Yvette is trying to shape Jody into being this man that is responsible. I don't know if she didn't know that from the beginning because he seems very immature. And Peanut is played by Tamara Bass, who is Jody's second baby mother, who he got knocked up while he was with Yvette because the little child that he has with Peanut, she looks younger than his son that he has with Yvette. My assumption is that he cheated on Yvette, or I don't know. But he has two kids, two little ones, and he's juggling between the two of them. A typical 20-year-old, 21-year-old guy that doesn't know who he is or what his point is besides sticking his thing in different women. So yeah, that's a whole nother story that I can get into. This is one of Taraji's first big major films that a lot of us know her from before she started her actual acting career. Remember, this movie came out in 2001. I was 9 years old. But I remember this movie very clearly when I watched it. And I remember watching this movie at 9 years old when it first came out, being like, what is going on with this dysfunction? It just seemed like drama the entire film from the beginning. So what I know of Yvette, she seems to be responsible and she has her young son. She lives in a complex condo, typical LA styled apartment, with the stairs that leads to a balcony with the units on the second floor. I swear, you don't really see too many apartments like that. That's such a West Coast thing. Yvette has a little office job, a 9 to 5, she's clocking in, she has her own car. She's taking care of everything. But unfortunately, she ended up getting pregnant and she had an abortion. And Tyrese wasn't there to pick her up on time, which was telling in the beginning of the first act.
One condom, where at least you went all out. All I get is a trip to the clinic.
The entire film is based upon the love-hate dynamic that Yvette and Jody has towards each other. Jody feels entitled to everyone around him having to baby him, hence the title card, Baby Boy. So Yvette is resting from having an abortion, and Tyrese is like, can I take your car so I can just go over to my other baby's mama's house? He doesn't tell her this, but Yvette's in the bed crying, looking all sad, obviously for obvious reasons. You're not using your car, so can I take it? No, you're not using it right now.
Leave me alone, Jody. Just get out my face.
Well, then I guess you don't mind if I use your car then, huh?
And she lets him, and he goes over to his other baby mother's house and plays with his daughter. He ends up having intercourse with his second baby mama. And Peanut's mother is actually downstairs in the actual home under the same roof, hearing the thumping going on, if you get what I'm saying. And I'm just like, this is some dysfunctional ass shit. This is so dysfunctional.
Like, this is ghetto.
Like, imagine, I would be embarrassed if my mother heard me having intercourse with anybody, let alone with the man that is not actively with me, and he's coming over to use me for the kid, right? I feel like the kid was the actual point. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna get too deep. Using your first baby mother's car to go over to your second baby mother's house to then sleep with her while using your first baby mother's car after she had an abortion is some nasty work. That was very disturbing. To me, it is. That's why I love the editing for this film. The editing is great, I will say that. The switch to seeing Yvette crying, laying in bed, where she finally wakes up and gets herself together, calls up her girlfriend, and is like, you know how he is. You know how Jody is. You know how Jody is.
What do you say about y'all getting a place together?
Jody don't want to live with me. He want to live with his mama.
Then let him fuck his mama then, shit. Have her ass all up at the clinic. Shit.
Jody actually lives with his mother, Juanita, who has a beautiful garden, by the way, and she's very proud of it, which I love. Baby Boy was like one of the first movies that introduced me to the image of Black women caring about gardening in the hood. Because growing up in Boston, in the hood of Boston, you didn't really see too much gardens happening in the hood where I'm from. So she was like, I'm going to put my collard greens over here. I'm going to put this over here. I was like, yes, ma'am. In this scene, she introduces Melvin to Jody. And Melvin is like, I heard you looking for a job. Petty ass. I love it. Yeah, you looking for a job. Your mother told me you were looking for a job. And of course, Jody's eyeing him up and down, doesn't care for the guy. And to be fair, I can understand that, because who are you? Like, even if I'm jobless, even if I have my own issues going on, you coming up in here and checking me about a job that I didn't attend to you about. So, and why is my mama telling my business to you? I don't know you, sir. Right? To be fair, Melvin offered him a job, which he needed, and he pretty much turned it down. Jody doesn't respect Melvin out of ego, and he feels like he's the king of the castle in his own mother's house. Don't know how that's possible at your grown age. Remember, he's in his 20s. I think he's like 20 or 21. You don't even live with any of your baby mamas. Really, who are you telling or to live or be where anywhere, you know? You still have your little room. You still have your little hobbies, making cars, which I think is pretty cool. But Melvin is a jailbird or a prison bird. I don't know. He served some time. Melvin capped a few people in his past life, and he served his time, and he's back out. He's on his second strike, so if he gets one more, he might go back in the penitentiary. Juanita found her a jailbird who is willing to change his life around. She is known for dating jailbirds, according to Jody. This is the second man that she's inviting back into her house after she lost her other son. Juanita was dating another man that was a jailbird, and I guess she kicked her other son out while Jody and him were living with her, and Jody's brother actually got murdered. So I don't know what happened. They didn't elaborate on that, but I think there's some resentment towards that, where he felt like if his mother would kick him out, then he would end up on the streets or killed anyways. Because if you look at the movie, there's such a big dream sequence where he keeps dreaming about death. I don't know if that's his conscious talking to him, where he feels like life is catching up to him because he's lacking responsibilities. I don't know. It doesn't really clarify why Jody keeps having these like dreams and these nightmares of being taken off this planet in the most violent way. But also it might have to do with him hanging out with his friend Sweet Pea Sweet Pea doesn't have a good track record, and he definitely doesn't seem like he has anything going on with his life either. So when you don't have anything going on in your life and you still end up being friends with people that also don't have anything going on with their lives, both of y'all are just going to be sitting around doing nothing. Shout out to Friday. Life will bring you something to deal with if you don't have nothing going on. So get a hobby, do something with your life. Why are you giving him access to your body? And then he's living with his mama's house where he doesn't really have to foot that much bills because he's not working. So the accountability is gone on his end. He's just using and using and using, and you're letting him and you're letting him and you're letting him. A lot of women have been there, but the thing is, you put so much energy into your collection of fixing these toy cars up that where's that energy put into your children and Yvette and getting your own crib, getting your own car? You could be using your time making money instead of just sitting around as if you have time. It's very self-centered of him to not take care of his responsibilities, but then have these dreams of people mourning him. How are you already having nightmares about being missed when you're not giving people a purpose to miss you for? Juanita, I'm sure, was not proud of him, and she told Jody about himself towards, the middle of the movie, but Juanita has a life of her own, and she's like, I gotta live my life for myself, like she said. And she's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. You have to grow up. You have to mature. But also, I blame part of that on Juanita, because how did your son get to this point where you still have him living with you, and it took for Melvin to come in to shake things up, I guess so. But Juanita has some form of contribution to why Jody is stuck mentally in this like childlike mind frame where he feels like he's old, where he feels entitled to people. And that's a hard thing to break through when all you know is people coming to your rescue, and men like Jody are going to prosper in this victimhood because people are treating him like a victim, and he's not. There was a part in the movie where Juanita and Melvin were getting dressed to go out for the night, and Jody literally was just watching her get dressed and looking nice, and he's just looking like a child in the corner that's watching his mother get dressed to go out for the night with a man that's not his dad for the first time in years since his parents been divorced. He literally was just like sitting at the door and just watching them like get ready to go out. And it's like, dude, you're too old, you're too grown to be watching your mother getting dressed.
You need some money? Got a little change for you.
Please, Jody, you ain't got no.
Melvin definitely was enjoying the idea of Jody getting jealous and feeling entitled to his mother's attention over him. The dynamic was so telling, and I loved it. Melvin was petty. Melvin was a petty king. Melvin cooking breakfast in the kitchen, butt naked, literally butt naked. He had a nice butt. I'm not gonna hold you. Okay. The butt was nice, and for a big man, for a built man, he had a nice butt. Rarely do I comment on men's butts, but he had a nice butt. Jody, all of a sudden, gets this spark of interest to make money. I feel like a lot of us can relate to that. I'm not going to lie. When a lot of us are like, how can I make some money? A hobby of mine that I can turn into money real quick. Hustle. It's like this burst of energy. That usually happens to me at like 2 a.m. where I'm like, I can make this, I can make that, I can make money off of this. Let me get some scraps together. I know that feeling. So I'm not gonna shame him. Get your money how you live it. But Jody was selling dresses, DVDs. He became the go-to man that would stop at the salons and the barbershops to sell you the bootleg DVDs and the bootleg dresses from like Rainbows and Tellos. Y'all remember Tellos? Tellos, Rainbows, Rue 21. Yeah, he looked like he copped those dresses, them fast fashions. The fast fashion is what he was selling. Shout out to the legendary scene. $40.
$40.
Look, man, $35. That's the lowest I can go.
Squeeze my tiny ass up in this.
I'ma fit my tight ass in this. That scene is literally culturally a classic. If anyone can quote a film, $40. People know it's from Baby Boy. I don't know why. It's how he said it. It's the, I fit my tight ass in this. This look cute, girl, don't it? They didn't even have that much of a line, but it served. It got it through. Anytime I see something that's like too expensive, I'm like, $40. So Jody ends up putting rims and tinted the windows of Yvette's car, not his own car, but Yvette's car, instead of buying his own. Like, you couldn't use the money that you sold all those DVDs and fast fashion for and get your own car, put a down payment on a car. No, instead, like the immature child that he is, he decided to buy rims and style up a car that is not even his, that he already knows in his head that he's going to be using anyways because Yvette's going to let him use the car. So why not pimp this car out that I don't even have to maintain or care for, as far as like main car payments or even car insurance, I'm sure, and just drive around so I can pick up other women to attract me in your car while I drop you off at work and take the car and even be late to pick you up from work. A lot of women can relate to this story. That's why it's such a classic, unfortunately. Hey, I said the quiet part out loud. A lot of black women still are Jody. It's just like social economical, not to say that there aren't white women or Asian women going through the same thing that Yvette was going through. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely they are. But culturally, since this is a black cinema, it's along the lines of black exploitation, as far as like the idea that black people are only going through this when we know otherwise. But John Singleton, the way that he directed this film, he was very specific as why he did this. And I understand why the movie coming across the way that it did. And to be honest with you, this movie was necessary, but it is not my favorite film. But it is a black classic because a lot of people know it and a lot of people can relate to it. Financial literacy is not a part of Jody's vocabulary. It's always best to have more than one car in a family dynamic. Backwards, backwards, backwards. You got two men with two egos living under the roof of a woman's house. That's Juanita's house. And you got these two men fighting over each other's, who has the bigger ego, in another woman's house. That's what got me messed up. Both of y'all need to take your asses somewhere. I would have been tired. I would have been like, and then when they actually got into it, when Melvin and Jody had their confrontation, where Melvin comes up from behind Jody and like gives him like a little neck choke, you know what I mean? He was playing, but he gave him the business. And then when they actually started fighting, and then Melvin literally punches the crap out of Jody and pushes Juanita to the wall. Juanita darn near flew to the wall herself when Melvin pushed her out the way to, pretty much punch Jody. And Jody's crying like a little child, like, you gonna let him do this? You gonna let him stay in your house? You gonna let him disrespect me, mama? Child, I would have been done with both of them. I would have been like, both of y'all can get y'all asses, dusty asses out of my house. I don't got time for this. I don't know. But you can tell that Juanita just wanted some love. She just wanted some attention. A lot of women want that. I understand. But when it comes to the dynamic between your son, Juanita should have dealt with Jody first and got him out before she started dating again, knowing who Jody is, knowing the type of man-child that he is. Like, he's not going to want another man in the house, and you know that. And you knew ahead of time that it would have caused some drama. Nothing is yours. Even if you claim it, even if you make it a thing in the house, this is mine, don't touch this, someone is not going to listen. Or someone is going to make up an excuse and say, I didn't hear you, I didn't know that, I didn't know it was yours. It wasn't yours. You didn't buy it, so what do you mean? Juanita had the opportunity to actually give Jody the tools to be independent. It's one thing if Jody didn't have kids, 2 kids by 2 different women that looked like they were under the age of 5. I can understand like him still living with his mom and not having that much of responsibilities to care for, but you have 2 separate families now. And you're relying on your mother to come and save you. And then you're getting jealous at her new life that she's trying to build with a man, whether you like him or not. That's her business. It's her house, like she said. You ain't gotta like it. That's her choice. Even if you disagree. Why are you not attending to your family? And if you don't want to have a family with either woman, whether it's Peanut or Yvette, get your own crib and take care of your responsibilities. Like, that is, you don't have to be with the mother of your children. You just have to be there for your children. And stop having children with multiple women that you can't take care of. Duh. Or get fixed. Snipped. If you don't want to use protection, get snipped. It's reversible a lot of the times, right? So get snipped if you don't want to take care of your children. I just don't understand this mentality of spreading your fertilizer all over the place, all over the community, and then being shocked, riddled, bewildered that you have to take care of your children and have to deal with the mother of said children that you decided to sleep with. Like, it doesn't, it takes two, just like Yvette said. My battery died on my microphone. My bad, you guys. But yeah, even in the movie, Yvette was watching Peanut's daughter at Jody's mother's house where he should be watching her, or Juanita should be watching Peanut's daughter. But no, it's Yvette, the other baby mama, watching the other baby mama's child that her baby daddy ended up cheating on her with and having a child with. Girl.
Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Okay. Yeah.
But it was funny though because Yvette was like, she pointed to her bra, meaning like, pay me, girl, for watching your child, even though I didn't have to.
My baby. Bring my grandbaby over here so I can get a kiss goodbye, please. Big good girl.
What I know, even though I'm not a mother or a baby mama or any of that, I have empathy. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. So at the end of the day, a lot of men don't actually raise their children on their own by a long shot. They usually have another woman involved to take care of partial, if not most, of their duties as a single father, because Jody is a single father, right? We love to say baby mamas and single mothers, but men are also baby daddies and single fathers, single parents. But we know in the patriarchy, women are typically blamed before the man is when it comes to raising a child in a single household, even though she's a single parent, because the man opted out of taking care of his business of being a good, stable father. That should never make sense to me, because it's like, how do you shame single mothers? How is that even a culture when single mothers wouldn't be single mothers if the father didn't leave them or their child? Society will put all the blame and the accountability on the woman and not the man that abandoned her and her child to become a single parent. It's like, that is so telling when it comes to like the patriarchy. But I have another video coming up after this. I have a few videos coming up after this approaching this topic of how society blames the woman for staying to take care of her responsibilities that she made with a man that is not taking care of his portion of the responsibilities when it comes to raising a child together. So Snoop is Rodney, who's locked up, who ends up calling Yvette on her house phone. Jody ends up being at the house and he answers the phone, and Rodney's like, who's this? Put Yvette back on the phone.
Put Yvette on the phone, nigga. What? Is this Jody? The Jody that got my boo pregnant and can't take care of his responsibilities as a motherfucking man?
And he starts talking, his mess or whatever. And I'm just like, girl, you dealing with another man while you dealing with your baby daddy? I don't know why this is a thing. That's just too much drama. Like, that's one part of the movie where I was looking at Yvette sideways, like, why are you entertaining a jailbird? But also at the same time, Melvin did bombard her when he came by and pretty much like crashed at her crib, but she's able to call 911. She can kick him out if she wanted to. That's her crib, but she didn't. So he ends up trying to essay her. He does not care about her child, her son. He punks her little baby around like the little man child that he is. Melvin, aka Snoop, is one of the worst like characters. How do you serve a bid and then bombard a woman's apartment where her son stays, her little child, and tries to like eat up all his fruit snacks? Get a hold of yourself, okay? So Melvin tried to smoke Jody, and Jody got his payback by confiding in Sweet Pea, and they catch up on him. Sweet Pea pretty much dusts him off, if you get what I'm saying. And I guess that made him try to live straight. I don't know if that was his resurrection of making things even. He didn't get caught. He didn't get arrested for it. So Jody tries to put Sweet Pea on to his little hustle of selling fast fashions on the street, but Sweet Pea don't know how to talk to women. He don't know how to sell anything. He's just kind of like, you ain't gonna buy this dress, girl. You ain't gonna buy this dress. Buy this dress, girl. Bitch, fuck you. Da-da-da. Honey, you have to understand how sales work. You can't just talk to your customers any kind of way because they don't want your product or they're questioning where your product comes from, sweetheart. Sweet Pea, you're not being a sweet pea. You're being a dingy pea. You're being a dinbat. You're being a dusty pea. Get yourself together, my sir. Just sell the product and say, you know what? I don't know where it's from, but If you like it and you don't like it, bring it back and I'll try to give you something better. The hate love trope in this film is a little bit too much for me, because even in real life, I do know, or I've heard women on the internet, on social media spaces anyway, say, y'all never had no real good D. Y'all never had no real good D, because women go back to their man because the D be too good. That's a psychosis. If you can't stay away from a man that disrespects you because his head game or the intimacy is too good, you have a problem. Not the women that understand that it takes more than intimacy for a woman to like a man or respect a man. Jody likes to future fake Yvette. Basically, he likes to tell false stories, you know. We're going to do this. I'm going to get you a house. I'm going to get you a car. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change. I'm going to be better. I'm not going to cheat on you. I'm not going to do this. When Yvette was like, let me smell your pee-pee to see if you are cheating, you shouldn't have to do that. Like, as a woman, why are you asking to smell a man's private part to see if he was having intimacy with another woman when you could just not be bothered with him, because it means he's not using protection most times. And it also means that you should not be inquiring about a man's loyalty or his faithfulness when you have to ask that question. Never in my life did I understand that, because there are women that do that will even ask their husbands when they get home from work, let me smell your, or let me see if you've been with another woman. Why are you with him? Girl, just cut him out. Just cut him out. You don't even have to question him every night. Just cut him out for your sake of peace. You don't got to do that. I want better for my girlies. I want better for y'all. Y'all are literally sitting here crying yourselves to sleep over men that literally show you, tell you, and do that they don't care about you. And then you make it their fault that they don't respect you. No, you don't respect yourself, girl. Yvette didn't respect herself. Yvette had low self-esteem. Jody seen that. Jody knew what he was working with, an insecure woman. He took advantage of her. Most men will. Most men will take advantage of you if you let them. That is not a surprise. That is not news to anybody. Being the bigger woman, being the better person, being the better baby mama, you don't get a prize in the end but heartbreak and manipulation and just wasting your time in your life. There's no prize of fighting over a man. There's no prize of fighting over a man that don't care about you either. There is no prize whatsoever, not even for your children. But I guess eventually in the end, he grew up magically and they got back together and it was so happy ever after. But in real life, it's not really like that. We all know that. Juanita ends up finding some cannabis that is being grown besides her garden. She immediately goes to Jody and blames him. And he's like, I didn't do that. That's your man that did that. Melvin apologized. He said, I won't do it again. And she accepted it. And Jody felt some type of way because Jody was expecting his mom to cuss her boyfriend out over something that she would cuss him out over. But Jody knows better. Maybe Melvin didn't. I don't know. It's California. It's California. Maybe he didn't know. But he said, I'm not going to do it again. And that's why she gave into it. Which I can understand. Jody, you know better. So you shouldn't be doing it. But at this point, who cares? Who's counting? But Jody actually had every right to be concerned about a man that is a woman abuser, because Melvin allegedly used to beat his ex-girlfriend up, according to what Jody said, and Melvin didn't like that. Melvin didn't like being reminded of his past, allegedly, by the woman that he's sleeping with son. No, Jody had every right to question any man like being with his mother, regardless of his age. Regardless of his age, nobody would want their mother dating a criminal, let alone a man that beat his ex-girlfriend. So that's it. This movie is a classic, but it is one of my least favorite classics out of the classics, if that makes sense, because it is such a replica of today's society where in a patriarchy, men are given chances after chances after chances just because they're men, and single mothers are left to bear the burden of cleaning up the mess of the so-called immature men that decide to keep having babies and babies and babies and babies, aka the cultural dynamic of broken households. But these stories need to be told. And honestly, like John Singleton is great at literally laying the full picture out. Whether people agree with, his take on things, I think he did it very well. He made his movies in a way that was digestible for like the general public, where we can now still make think pieces about them. So this is not the video for the think piece part, but I just wanted to cover the basis of like how Jody didn't end up being Jody because he just ended up being Jody. There were contributions and factors that put him in the place where he was, as far as like lacking the growth of maturity, independence, and responsibilities. Men like Jody get a second chance all the time because he made things right. Whatever that looks like for many people, he made things right. So I don't know. Tyrese in real life ain't shit. The image that I have of him, still to this day, an immature, crybaby, whining, self-entitled, narcissistic jerk. That's Tyrese Gibson for me today. As an artist, as a person, I don't give a darn. Taraji P. Henson did an amazing job. She played her role very, very well. It's one of her major roles that a lot of people know her from. Yvette deserved way more than she got from Jody, but if you don't know what you deserve, you're just going to accept anything that looks like flowers. Jody and Melvin end up, I guess, calling it a truce and end up getting along at the end of the film. And shout out to my new subscribers. I see y'all. The numbers are increasing and I love it. So stay tuned. I have a lot more content coming up for you guys. Thank you for watching and I appreciate you guys' love and support. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, love, and happiness.